Hi there YouTube, Sad Womble here. If you look at feminist videos at the moment, you'll notice they're really starting to get annoyed and fed up with the fact that there are loads and loads of men's rights movements and MRA and anti-feminist films on YouTube. And they're really fed up and annoyed about the number of websites out there that are bashing feminism and the number of, as I say, YouTube videos and stuff, like, for example, this one, my channel, that are bashing feminism. And I say good. And I also say we need more. Feminism's had its own way far too long. They've been a lone voice of nonsense in a sea of reason. And it's time that basically men not fought back exactly, because we know we can't, but started to put our point of view back. And I think the best way to do that is as we are doing, certainly as a MGTOW, we're doing it with passive resistance, because as we know, previously, you had own group preference. Women looked after women and men looked after women too, and the whole of society is geared up to looking after the little fluffy bunnies. But that's now been enshrined in law, so basically men can't go within 10 feet of a woman without being in fear of anything she might say being taken down and used to put him in prison without any further evidence. Which has not unsurprisingly put all right-thinking men kind of off women, myself included. But I think we need more of this. We need a point where, we are a very small movement. Much as we would all love to think that everybody knows who we are and that we're a huge, having a huge effect on the world. We're not. We are a very small movement. But the important thing is we may be small, but we are where we need to be, which is on a mass communication system, aka YouTube. If you want to look us up, you can find us. You can find videos by way better people than me. You can find videos by, Girl Writes What and Barbarossa and Stardust and Sandman and Raging Golden Eagle and a number of the ones that I've mentioned on my channels before. And we all have our favourites. We all had Good Fella, I think, isn't it, starting with the 6. We all have our favourite MRA channels. Some are more polished than others. Some have graphics. Some just have a title page like mine. I specifically do mine like this to avoid any possibility of copyright infringement, in the same way as I do not reference specific materials. It's all off the top of my head, which makes my videos slightly more chatty possibly than others. I don't know, some people are very scripted, some people are very fact-based, and there's space for all of us. And that's the point. So if you're listening to this, I recommend start yourself up an MRA channel and start waffling your thoughts about feminism or your life as an MRA or as a MGTOW out there. Start doing it. Start waffling out. I'm only doing this because I basically discovered that it was something I could do. I don't claim any particular knowledge, insight or talent. I just claim to be a guy with a microphone who kind of has had it with feminism and wanted to get my thoughts out there. And this is what we need to do. This is what feminists do. And in the olden days, this is why it's great in the 21st century. And the likes of YouTube and the internet are just wonderful. In the olden days, if there was something you wanted to get out there, you had to write leaflets, you had to get things printed, you had to stand on street corners, you had to scream and shout and stuff. Now we don't need to. We can do websites, we can do YouTube, we can do Facebook chats and all sorts of things. And that's what we should be doing, because men are turning. They're turning off women. It's not happening. It's maybe not happening consciously. Men aren't necessarily all turning, red pill to realise they're turning red pill. They're just kind of realising that they're just sick of being treated like crap by women. And what happens is, what happened to me is I can't remember, I think I've said this in another video, but I can't remember, so I'll say it again. I typed in, "Why are women so nasty?" into into Google. And that put me onto a couple of YouTube channels, and I found Girls Writes What. She was my first introduction into the world of sort of anti-feminism. She through her videos, I found Voice for Men, I found Barbarossa, I found Stardust, and I've never looked back. And that's all there is to it. You have to have somebody who's in the right frame of mind to do a search for something similar to that, and they will find videos. And this is the thing: if the videos aren't there to be found, then the message won't get out there. And people will, like I say, they will have their favourites. People have their favourite style of video. Some people like this, some people like the structured version, some people like the more chatty version. But everyone, I think, should be producing, or at least should be encouraged to produce, even if it's just one video, or it's just anyone, because if you stand on a street corner, people are going to just look at you in a funny way. And I think trying to convert people, if you like, live when they're not necessarily ready is a recipe for disaster. You have to hit when they're ready, and they tend to be ready when they're sitting at their computer. You're probably at a very low ebb, typing in, sad thoughts. And I don't know if you're anything like me when you use YouTube and Google. I just type in random nonsense. And you find things. You find, literally you just sit at a keyboard. I used to do this all the time. I've been using the internet since 1993 when it was first invented, really. World Wide Web was invented, not the internet. Please, no comments about that. And I would just type in random things. When was the first jet engine made? What's the world record for holding cheese on your head? Anything, just nonsense. But there comes a point when you get over that and you start to search for more pertinent things to your life. And I think, it's searching for, anti-feminism and stuff like that. And the more stuff that can be out there to be found, the better. And I do think we are, as I say, we are a small group of people, but we are in the right place. We've targeted our little place. YouTube is a fabulous, fabulous way of disseminating information. That's a good word for the day. Disseminating information. And I encourage everyone to basically make more, because the more we get the message out, the more it annoys feminists. And I find if doing something annoys somebody, it's because you've hit a nerve. If feminists were convinced that they were right, they wouldn't care that others were putting a counter-argument, because it wouldn't matter that others were putting a counter-argument, because they were just correct. If I went around telling people that it's actually much better to walk on your hands everywhere because it saves on shoe leather, that's just nonsense. It's just drivel, and it's just pointless. So nobody would care if I set up a website called walkonyourhands.com, and I could put out all this stuff about why it's better for you and more healthy and how it could be done, and the fact that you could then have carpeted roads, which would be much nicer, and all the stuff. I could build an entire ecosystem around the concept of walking around your hands, and I could tell you all the reasons why it's better for you and better for your back and better for your health and the way to make the environment nicer. I could do all of that, and absolutely no one would pay me any attention, because what I'm spouting is just drivel. However, if I suddenly come out and say, I've just discovered a brand new system of running cars that doesn't involve petrochemical, it doesn't involve anything to do with petrochemical, it's sort of not even solar, it's a new, brand new system, and it instantly makes all other systems totally obsolete, it has zero environmental impact, and it's perpetual energy for life. And so you no longer need, you don't need the oil business, you don't need the energy business, you don't need anything like that. Instantly, well, I'd probably be killed by one of those organisations, but that's another conversation. But people would listen, and people would shout at me and try and shut me down. And the only reason would be because I've actually got a point. And that's my thing. If people are getting cross with you, it's because they recognise you've actually got a point. And that is why we should carry on making videos. More and more and more. And the more they get upset, the more we should make. Because eventually, in time, and it will take time, eventually, people are actually going to see not only was life, actually pretty good in the pre-feminism era, actually, it was actually not just pretty good, it was actually the right way to live. Sad Womble, out.